Ex-wife who cheated and abandoned our family years ago shows up at my door with another man's kid, wanting to be a family again. I slammed the door in her face. Some context here: my ex-wife Angela, 36, and I, 37, male, had met when we were in our mid-20s, when I was around 24. We were working at the same firm and that's how we met. After being in a relationship for 2 years, we got married, and within 3 years of our marriage, we had 2 daughters, now 9 and 7 years old. The second pregnancy was unexpected and she wasn't happy about it, but she didn't terminate it, even though I had told her that it would be okay with me if she did. Since I didn't want to put her through anything that she didn't want. After our first daughter, things were still great between us and we were as in love as we could be. But that changed after the second pregnancy. She became really moody and irritable and constantly picked on me or our eldest. But I just figured that this was because of all the hormones and stuff and tried to make my peace with this new version of Angela. We thought that this would change after a while, but things just got progressively worse, and my daughter and I learned to walk on eggshells around her. I was taking care of everything, even though she was supposed to be a stay-at-home mom. She had quit her job of her own volition after our first kid and did all the work around the house along with taking care of our eldest while I worked, until she got pregnant for a second time. We had to hire a housekeeper while she was pregnant because she said that she was too tired to do the work around the house along with looking after our kids. I agreed, even though it was slightly out of our budget since I wasn't earning enough at the time. I agreed to hire a housekeeper because I didn't want to inconvenience Angela, especially while she was pregnant. I assumed that she would return to looking after the house and kids during the day after our second daughter was born. Also, let me just make it clear that I wasn't one of those husbands who didn't do anything around the house after coming back from work. I did whatever I could to help out, even though I used to be exhausted from working. After she gave birth to our younger daughter, I thought that she would take a few months, but then she would bounce back and we could go back to our normal lives. But several months passed and she showed no signs of changing. She remained just as cranky and irritable and refused to do any work around the house. She would just sit at home all day and watch television. She didn't even play with the kids or anything and would pay our neighbor to take them out to the park occasionally. I don't mean to sound resentful, but I did feel that way because I was slogging at work, day and night. And she wouldn't even do the bare minimum at home. It was also proving quite expensive for me to pay for a housekeeper to do all the cooking, cleaning, and other miscellaneous household chores. I had to take care of all the other expenses as well, and I wanted to save money for our daughter's future too. That was becoming almost impossible because Angela refused to help me out in any way. So after almost 6 months since our younger daughter's birth, I decided that we couldn't go on like this and I had to talk to Angela. I knew that this was going to be a difficult discussion, so I asked my parents to watch our daughters for one day and they agreed. That day, I sat Angela down and I told her that I knew she was tired after 2 pregnancies, but I needed her to help me out here and work with me. I explained to her that having a housekeeper was becoming too expensive for us and I needed her to honor her word and go back to doing at least some of the household chores, so we could renegotiate and lower the housekeeper's salary and save some money. She was opposed to the idea and said no to it instantly because she said that she was too busy watching the kids do any of the work around the house and that I should start earning more instead of making up excuses and blaming her for my financial condition. I tried to tell her that I was doing my best already, but she had to do her best as well if we wanted to make this marriage work. I also brought up how she wasn't really looking after the kids. Because as far as I knew, she would just let them watch television with her and they would sit with her for hours while she watched tacky reality TV. This is what the housekeeper had once mentioned to me conversationally. I soon realized that bringing that up was a huge mistake because she flared up and accused me of spying on her through the housekeeper. She went on a tirade against me after that and said that she was not going to stand this anymore, that she was done being pushed around by me and being forced to do all the work while I did nothing except sit at a desk for a few hours every day. She then told me that this was my fault, that I couldn't afford to have a housekeeper and that it was a shame that I had to beg her to help me out since I was supposed to be the man of the house. It was all really illogical and she was just grasping at straws to somehow make it seem like there was nothing wrong with her not doing anything all day. And I was the crazy one for expecting her to actually contribute and pull her weight around the house.